Hi everybody, I'm Sarah Ockwell-Smith. Welcome to my latest SOS parenting video. This week I'd like to talk about toddler and preschooler bedtime routines and what to include to get the easiest, most enjoyable bedtime routine, but most importantly, the easiest bedtime and the best overnight sleep. Now I think in the baby sort of months and in the first year of life, bedtime routines are a really big part of life. And I think it's more common that parents have a routine that they don't have a bedtime routine. By routine, by the way, I'm not talking about setting it exactly to a clock. I'm talking about doing certain things at a certain-ish time in a certain order. So for a baby bedtime routine, it would be something like a bath, a massage, a story, a feed, a cuddle, a rock and sleep, or something like that. But what I tend to find is as children get older, sort of 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 onwards, those bedtime routines start to go out of the window a little bit. But actually, bedtime routines are probably the best way that you can help sleep, both going to sleep initially and also sleep overnight for 2 to 5 year olds at least, if not a little bit older. So I really recommend having a bedtime routine for at least the first 5 years of life. So what to include in a bedtime routine? I'm actually going to wind the clock back a little bit and say, I actually am very mindful of bedtime for at least a couple of hours before bedtime happens. So there are a couple of things that I would always include in a toddler, preschooler, 3, 4, 5 year old bedtime routine. So what I'm going to do is recommend 2 things. The first is to always try to get a playtime, a reconnecting, a crazy busy playtime. So this works a little bit like, imagine if you have a puppy and you're trying to exercise it and get all of its energy out before you pop it in the crate for the night. So think of your child a bit like a puppy. What they need after dinner before bedtime is they need lots of play, lots of roughhousing, crazy play, running around, but importantly, not just getting the energy out, but time to reconnect with you. So important. So many people I know go from finishing dinner to reading a book or watching TV and straight into the bedtime routine. But this playtime, this roughhousing, this crazy play, getting the energy out, but also importantly, spending the time with you is so helpful to not only to help them to sleep more overnight, but to really get some good connection time in. So if they've been at preschool or school or you've been at work, it's a great way to reconnect, because if they don't reconnect then, they're going to want to reconnect at bedtime. And that's when they're very reluctant for you to leave, or they keep waking up and crying for you in the evenings. So that reconnecting playtime is such an important way to start before bedtime starts. After the reconnecting play, what I always recommend is a bedtime snack. So whatever they've had for dinner, I'd always recommend giving them a snack. So this mops up any residual hunger, keeps blood sugar levels stable and helps them to get through the night. But also if you choose the snack wisely, you can choose food that is actually really good for sleep. So things like that contain something called tryptophan, or foods containing magnesium. My absolute favourite bedtime snack in terms of what it helps with sleep is something like a whole meal or a whole wheat toast with an almond butter, a smushed avocado, or something like that. That tends to work really well. And also banana on oatmeal or on some whole wheat toast is really great, because they all contain a good level of magnesium and also to help the release of tryptophan, which also helps the release of melatonin, which is the hormone of sleep. So I would give them a bedtime snack, normally in your living area or your kitchen, wherever you eat your meals really, and give them a similar amount of food as they would have at breakfast. Don't worry if they don't eat it initially. It takes them normally 2 or 3 weeks to get used to that bedtime snack. But bedtime snack is kind of really the beginning of bedtime for me. So you've got the playtime, then snack time. And then I would always recommend starting with a bath, not because it's about cleaning them, but because it's about changing the temperatures of their body. So you want the bath really, really warm, just a titch above body temperature. So what this does is increases their body temperature a little bit when they're in the water, but when they get out, it drops very quickly and they release a nice surge of melatonin, the sleep hormone. But do beware in the bathroom. Don't use your main bathroom lights. They're incredibly bad for sleep. And also try to restrict bath toys. Bath time is the beginning of bedtime. It's not time to have all the crazy playthings. You know, lots of water play early in the day, but calm bath time down. I'd also restrict the time in the bath to 10 minutes maximum. After bath time, I'd be going straight into the bedroom, but I would make sure that the bedroom is prepared for sleep. So I talk very much about having the correct lighting, just basically only red light or light on the red colour spectrum. Don't use white, blue, purple, green, pink, any other colour lights in their bedroom. And the same for the bathroom too. I'd also recommend using music. So I have a recording called Gentle Sleep Music for Babies that actually isn't just for babies. It works for toddlers, preschoolers and older children too. But I would have that playing ready along with the lighting ready as soon as you enter the room after the bath. I also recommend using a diffuser with a relaxing scent, so something like mandarin or chamomile or lavender or a bit of a mix. And I would have that going when you move into the bedroom as well after the bath. And then what I would do is change them into their pajamas, and then lots of cuddles and a story. When it comes to story time, I recommend the same bedtime story every night. So reading with kids is so important, loads of different books, but I would move that before dinner or before the crazy playtime. At bedtime, I only recommend the same book read on repeat each night. And also I recommend avoiding books that have lift the flaps or books that have like buttons that you press that make noise or crinkly fabric. You want a kind of a boring book, a book about sleep or bedtime. I like books by Margaret Wise Brown. She writes something called Goodnight Moon and Sleep Little Angel. And you want to just read that same book and then encourage them to snuggle up to a comforter, a lovey or a teddy bear or something. And then either sit with them or hold their hands while they go to sleep, or you could use some a bedtime meditation recording. I have a bedtime meditation recording called Gentle Sleep Relaxation for Children, which is very much mindfulness and sort of a hypnosis track to encourage sleep, but aimed at young children. So you can pop that on while you go and tidy up in the bathroom or something. You can find all of my recordings on Amazon, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, most places where you can download music. And then what you want to do is either to sit with them as they go to sleep if you're happy with that. It's not a bad habit. They will absolutely outgrow it. It's not something I would try to avoid unless you needed to. Or I would be sort of popping back in to check on them as and when they needed me. If they were calm, I would leave them to it. If they needed me, I'd be going straight back in, because the more you go back in and you're there for them, the more they trust you'll be there when you need them. But I hope that sort of helps. It's generally speaking, I would say, including the crazy playtime and the bedtime snack, you're probably looking at about 1 to 1.5 hours from the start of the crazy playtime to sleep onset. So generally speaking, I'd aim for sleep onset for sort of 1 to 5-year-old around about sort of 8 to 8:30 p.m. So we're looking at starting this at probably around 7 or just before 7. But if you keep doing it consistently, so don't try to judge if it works after a couple of days. You want to be trying this for at least 4 weeks, but hopefully after 4 weeks you should see some good improvement at going to sleep, but also sleeping the early evening and maybe even waking overnight. I hope that helps. There's much more on sleep routines and sleep issues at any age up to the age of 5 in my The Gentle Sleep book. You want to look for the book that has the coloured stars on the front when it says revised and updated. That's the new 2nd edition, which is very different to the old 1st edition. And also, if you would like more parenting hits and tips, I release a new video every week. Do hit the subscribe button to be notified about new videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.